Life is about choices. We have chosen Fulham.
London calling. We are FFC. We've got 3 points, you've got none. Ha 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 he he. Ha 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 he he. Ha 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 he he.
Fulham, 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 Fulham.
Stylish, slick, classy, determined, confident, professional. The list of adjectives that apply to Fulham's demolition of Division 1 could go on. And it all started with this man, Tigana. Fulham's new manager had no experience of English football, let alone the nuts and bolts of Division 1. The bookies certainly didn't have Fulham down as favourites, and yet by March, they paid out. With assistant manager Christian Damiano and fitness coach Roger Proto, the French trio set about applying their own unique philosophy from the off, based around 3 key words that would frequently be heard around the training ground during the season: tactical, technical, physical. Tigana started the season by signing a future star Louis Saha from Metz for £2.1 million. He'd scored only 4 times for his old club the previous season, but it wasn't long before he was smashing English goal-scoring records. Other new signings followed, John Collins and Lewis Boamorti. But it all started in a pre-season friendly against the Indian national team, their premier appearance in the UK.
It must be said, both teams have played a very competitive and entertaining first half. Here comes the cross. Vinder punches it away. The ball comes back again. A chance for Fulham. Could this be the first goal? India there in depth. Firm shot, and yes, it's in the net. And it's Fulham 1, India 0. And so we have 3 World Cup players on the field for Fulham, and here's the chance for Fulham again. Virinder Singh on his own, and this should be goal number 2, and it is.
Fulham's season started on a sun-soaked day at Craven Cottage, and it was apparent from the off that things were going to be very different. Despite being linked with every player and his dog over the summer, the Fulham team still contained 8 of the regulars from Paul Bracewell's era. Although most of the faces were the same, it was the system that was markedly different, as the rigid 5-3-2 of old was replaced by a more fluid 4-4-2.
That's not a good cross by Steve Finnan. Goal back now. under pressure from 2 or 3 Crew players, but he's still found Sahar, and he's got the ball back again, goal back. Chance now for Lee Clark. Bends it back, surely for Hales. It is for Barry Hales. He's only been on 5 or 6 minutes. Goldbeck and Clark were the men who set him up. But Hales has done what so many before him have failed to do. And he's given Fulham the lead. 18 minutes into the second half. And Fulham have their first goal of the season.
New arrival Louis Sahar, whose goal tally at Metz the season before was a meagre 4, had the doubters in full chorus. But then they saw him play.
It will be now if Sahar can put this away. It probably is over. Louis Sahar on his home debut, £2.1 million. And that's what the fans want to see. The ball was absolutely superb, but really Sahar's pace was electric, and the finish was as cool as ice.
And so to St Andrews for what is still regarded by many as the performance of the season. As Jeff Horsfield lined up against his former teammates, Fulham obliterated the Blues with confidence and conviction.
Hales, that's a nice layoff to Lee Clark. Danger here for Birmingham, and Hales just couldn't get under control. It's come off Bennett's body. Collins, 42 seconds is all it's taken for Fulham to grab the lead. And Collins took that with all the coolness of an established international footballer. It really was poor defending by Birmingham. So much space for Clark and then Hales. And Collins, cool as you like, 1-0. Must be delighted with what he's seen so far. His team are well on top. This is Pearce. That's a bit short. And Louis Sahar is clean through here. Should be 2-0, and it is. And Fulham in complete command, and that was all of Birmingham's own making. Darren Pearce's pass, and Sahar, to give him credit, was alert to it. They desperately need something back here before half-time, Birmingham City. Here's Peter Unla. Plenty blue shirts forward, and there's 2 of them unmarked here, and it might come to Sonner, and they have got one back. Danny Sonner, his first goal for the Blues in the final minute of the first half, and Davies has had a go, and he scored! And Birmingham were caught cold there. I'm sure they weren't ready. The keeper, Ian Bennett, was trying to organise his wall, and he was caught flat-footed, and his team are 2 goals down again.
In a moment of post-match humility, City manager Trevor Francis declared Fulham were the best away side he'd seen in his 5 years at St Andrews. With 11 changes made from the side that had beaten Birmingham, Tigana made it startlingly clear where his priorities lay. It was veteran Northampton striker Marco Gabbiadini who ensured a frustrated Fulham went into the second leg a goal down. As the chairman announced an unprecedented move to subsidise transport to away fixtures, Tigana's men were quick to put their midweek cup defeat behind them.
Nice interception there, though, by Kevin Cooper, but Fulham win out. Hales to Sahar, back to Hales, bursting into the box, pass to Hales. It's there! Well, we didn't waste much time at St Andrews. We've given it a couple of minutes or so here at the cottage today. Fulham 1, Stockport County 0. Barry Hales, his second of the season. He started the move, a neat 1-2 with Louis Sahar, and Barry Hales slots home. 1-0 to the Whites. A real test of their mettle now for Stockport, who come forward swiftly themselves. Dinning, right-hand side, crosses into the box. There's the 7, and it's 1-1. It's Kevin Cooper.
Like many other sides to come, Stockport buckled under the relentless pressure, constant bombardment and superior fitness of Tigana's Fulham.
As we approach the hour mark at Craven Cottage, Fulham desperate for that second goal. John Collins left foot. It's there! How to take a set piece with style. Lesson 1, John Collins, who just dusts down that left boot. The Scots' second successive goal in successive games, of course. Confidently curled round the county wall, past Jones, 2-1 Fulham. Sean Davis. Barry Hales. Still Hales. Good touch, good goal! Barry Hales milks the applause. His second of the afternoon, his third of the season. A sense of relief as Fulham restore. Well, in fact, build a 2-goal margin for the first time this afternoon. Collins, Fernandes, Clark, there's still time. Boamorte, finish. Left foot, 4-1. Well, after much Stockport County resistance, this one's becoming a rout.
By full-time, only 3 of the 8 teams who'd gone into action with 100% records still retained them, including Fulham. And so too Carrow Road on August Bank Holiday Monday for an ill-tempered encounter that produced no fewer than 9 yellow cards. And just when it looked like Norwich had done enough to halt Fulham's winning run, it was the Portuguese third of Fulham's striking triumvirate who secured arguably the most well-earned 3 points of the season. As August drew to a close, Jean Tigana's first taste of English football couldn't have been sweeter. With Fulham still unbeaten in the league, he was named as Nationwide Manager of the Month, while his charge, John Collins, picked up both the Nationwide and Evening Standard Player of the Month awards. A goal down from the away leg, Fulham were quick to reverse the arrears, despite the visitors taking a shock early lead.
Clips it into the box, and it's there! Fulham caught cold from a set piece on 6.
Sean Davis's carbon copy of his cheeky free kick at Birmingham levelled the scores, and it was the introduction of Louis Sahar at half-time that changed everything.
Looked like a foul there from Hunt, and it was. Bullying Lee Clark off the ball, and it's a Fulham free kick. The likes of Sean Davis, Fabrice Fernandes and possibly Eddie Lewis would fancy this one. And it is Lewis and Davis conspiring with Boamorte in support. I suspect Eddie Lewis is going to hook this in with his left foot, but Davis takes it quickly, and it's there! Well, for the second time this season, cheeky opportunism from Shawnee Davis. He did it at St Andrews in the first away league game of the season, and he's done it in this Worthington Cup first round second leg beautifully. Saw a gap and filled it. 1-1. Fulham back in with it, with a shout in this one. Boamorte now bearing down on the Northampton goal with Lee Clark in support. Boamorte opts for Fernandes just outside the D. Fernandes for Fulham, left foot shot, lovely effort from Fernandes. Oh, that's a fantastic goal. Now that's the goal of the season so far. From the left foot of young Frenchman Fabrice Fernandes on 56 minutes puts Fulham back in front. It was Boamorte who fed him on the edge of the box, and Fernandes, cultured left foot, gorgeous, clipped, chip beyond Welch. Fulham
there will be half an hour of extra time.
2-1 ahead. If it remains the same, there'll be extra time and Northampton will go through, but Fulham surely with the advantage now. Forward from Nilsson. Fernandes, the goal scorer of the second Fulham goal. Pick of the bunch at the Cottage so far this season. Boamorte, Clark, Sahar! Louis Sahar for Fulham. Now 3-1 to the good on the night. 3-2 on aggregate. And as it stands, Fulham will ease their way through to the second round of the Worthington Cup. Three minutes of injury time are going to be played as Louis Saha dances into space. Is it going to be 4? It is! Well, I remember reading an internet report by Paul Thorpe that said Louis Saha could really be a Fulham superstar in the making, and certainly on this second half display this evening, that certainly doesn't sound over the top.
By now, Fulham's healthy appetite for scoring had confined the previous term's goal droughts into the annals of history. But some wounds inflicted under the previous management were still smarting, including Barnsley's thumping of Fulham at the Cottage under Paul Bracewell. Fulham set about showing another of the league's front-runners who was boss in a veritable goal fest before the Sky cameras.
Fernandez with a kick. Saha! Goal for Fulham with just 6 minutes gone. A really dangerous free kick to defend against, and Saha took full advantage.
Well, it came about from the Uruguayan sloppy play. Really did drop O'Callaghan in it. It was a free kick from Fernandez. What a great delivery into the box. I always think when you're measured like that, we've got so much pace, it's difficult to defend against, and that's exactly what Barnsley experienced. And Saha thumped his header. Miller, no chance whatsoever.
Well, typical. Here's Saha, here's Hales. He's got inside O'Callaghan. Brilliant save by Miller, but Saha follows up and scores again. And after a scare a moment ago, Fulham again turned the screw, and Saha gets his second.
Well, it's a very cruel game indeed. It's route one from Fulham. Saha wins the initial header. Hales does superbly well. He almost looks as if he set himself up to score, but his striking partner is. Saha threads the ball through the legs of Morgan. Very direct, but very effective indeed.
Lovely dummy by Hales. He's got Goldback ahead of him, and he's got Goldback through here, and Miller brings him down, and the referee says penalty. Despite the goalkeeper's protestations, he was in an excellent position.
Louis Saha had his name on the match ball by half-time as Barnsley manager Dave Bassett dubbed the match Nightmare at Creighton Cottage.
And Louis Saha for the hat-trick. You can't keep a good man down. His 5th of the season. What an impact since his transfer here from Metz. 3-0 Fulham in first half injury time. This is Finnan. Goldback ahead of him has continued the run. Now Saha in space, he's got round the back, Hales! And it is 4. And it's been coming. Neat and precise. Made by Saha, who's got 3 himself, and taken by Barry Hales. Oh, Appleby's got through here. Consolation on for Barnsley. And he took it really well. 73 minutes played. Thumbs up from the chairman. Playing injury time now, and Fulham may not have finished it. This is O'Callaghan, he's lost possession. Boamorti did really well from that angle. It's a nap hand, 5 for Fulham. And that just about caps Kevin Miller's afternoon in goal for Barnsley. Defensive howler from O'Callaghan, and Boamorti squeezed it in.
Has been, a revelation really since he's come here. Obviously he went to Newcastle and things didn't happen for him, and he went back to France. Now he's come over here, and he's been brilliant really.
And Louis Saha is clean through here. Should be 2-0, and it is.
With Messi, it was very, very hard because they play more defense. so it was quite hard for me.
Finds Sahar, great strike, great goal!
Sahar has it now for Fulham. Still Louis Sahar, great work from Sahar, right foot, oh!
When you come another club, it's you have time for adaptation, and I think my adaptation it's very quick with the team, and when you start play for the first game, you don't know where you go. It's more adventure, and you saw we did well the first time, and after the confidence keep going, and we score many goals.
Clark, Sahar!
He came into a new country, new environment, and from start to finish he scored some fantastic goals.
With the petrol strike in full effect, many thought that Fulham would also be low on fuel, with only 2 days to recover from Barnsley. Despite Burnley's shock 9th-minute lead, an inspired performance by Danish international Bjarne Goldbæk soon made Burnley's early lead a distant memory, as Tigana's men slipped into the slick passing that had become synonymous with Fulham by now.
Bjarne Goldbæk then for Fulham. Takes it over the halfway line. Still Goldbæk. And he's scythed down some 15 yards outside the Burnley box. Cynical challenge from the Burnley man, so free kick to Fulham. Bjarne Goldbæk's going to look to level it up here for the Whites. Oh, and he does so with an absolute exocet missile of a set piece. Fulham's dashing Dane makes it 1-1. That absolutely flew home at the Hammersmith end. Past the diving Burnley keeper, he had no chance. Fabrice Fernandes spins past his man, darts into space and feeds Sahar, takes it to a tight angle, but not too tight. And this young Frenchman is fast becoming a legend by the riverside. Takes a hug from Barry Hales. Good work from Fernandes. Threaded it through. Sahar took it into the box and finished superbly with his left foot. Fulham 2-1 to the good then. Sahar. Brought down in front of the enclosure. Free kick to Fulham. Bjarne Goldbæk's going to take it. And there's Sahar again.
The final whistle confirmed a club record equalling 6th win on the trot. The last time was 1958-59, the year we reached the top flight. Perhaps it was to be prophetic. With John Collins still out and Sean Davis taking an ankle injury against Burnley, Fulham's visit to the City ground raised many a question about the strength and depth of Tigana's squad. As Rufus Brevitt left the field in the first half with a nasty shoulder injury, the situation was compounded. But another fine away performance made it 7 out of 7.
A goal they have been threatening for some time. And it's Louis Sahar, the French forward. Hales and Fernandes dancing his way through. And that is a fabulous second goal from the young Frenchman. Oh, here's another chance. It's Hales. And it's 3. Forrest totally caught napping. And in nipped Barry Hales. They got to sleep at the back. And Hales has taken full advantage.
True to form, the Worthington Cup signalled sweeping changes in the team, with only Mike Taylor keeping his place. But it was a last-minute Chesterfield goal that once again put Fulham in arrears for the second leg at the Cottage. In the run-up to the Gillingham game came the bitterly disappointing news that Fulham legend Simon Morgan was to face another long layoff after damaging cruciate ligaments in his left knee just days after he'd returned to full training following his recovery from a problem in his right knee. But the show went on. Fulham's 8th successive league win of the season saw a return for John Collins, and in the absence of the stressed Terry Phelan, utility man Wayne Collins deputised for the injured Rufus Brevitt.
Steve Finnan in the shadow of the Riverside stand, floats it over to Barry Hales. Oh, that's an emphatic finish. Barry Hales fires home at the Putney end, and Fulham are in front. Superb weighty cross from Steve Finnan, floats over the Gillingham backline, and there was Hales to finish in style. Steve Finnan. Barry Hales threads it through to Lee Clark, takes it beyond the keeper and scores. Fulham 2, Gillingham 0. The name's Clark, Lee Clark. Good ball from Hales. Lee Clark taking it beyond the keeper and just slotting the ball home. Goldbeck feeds Hales. Hales takes it on, weaving his way through Barry Hales. Still Hales. Oh, that's a wonder goal. The second of the afternoon, Fulham's third. And a sun-drenched Craven Cottage, Hales to Barry.
As Fernandes hit the post for the 5th time this season, Gillingham player-manager Andy Hessenthaler summed up the game in a nutshell, confessing his relief that it was only 3-0. In a repeat scenario of the first round, Fulham found themselves up against a 1-goal deficit in the second round, second leg of the Worthington Cup against Division 3 table toppers Chesterfield. But goals from Steve Hayward, Kit Simons, Barry Hales and Lewis Boa-Morty saw Fulham glide through to the next round with ease.
Looks like Stevie Hayward's going to take responsibility for this set piece. Right foot, 1-0. Stevie Hayward's first goal of the season puts Fulham back on level terms over these 2 legs on 33 minutes. Neatly taken set piece, wide of Pollitt. Arguably the man of the match so far. Fernandes with this corner then for Fulham. Touch from Lewis. And the head of captain Kit Simons puts Fulham 2 goals to the good on the night. And more importantly, 2-1 on aggregate. It was a corner taken by Fabrice Fernandes, touched towards goal by Eddie Lewis. And there was captain Kit Simons to nod the ball home. Long clearance from Pollitt. Guided on, looking for David Reeves, but Fulham mop that up and build again. Barry Hales in the box now. Barry Hales must be 3. It is. Barry Hales, 3-0 on the night of the season. Clark has it. Boa-Morty. Eager as ever to get amongst the goals, Louis Boa-Morty. He might just do that. Still Boa-Morty. That's a lovely goal. Just for reward, really, for some tireless toiling by the Portuguese striker. Louis Boa-Morty, thankful for Fulham's 4th of the evening. Lovely stuff from Louis Boa-Morty.
As September drew to a close, Fulham travelled to the Reebok to take on an as-yet unbeaten Bolton side. With Fulham firing on all cylinders, even a torrential downpour failed to dampen the power, pace and skill of Tigana's men. It was another Boa Morti brace that did the damage, the first of which broke another club record as the fastest Fulham goal ever scored, hitting the back of the net after only 12 seconds.
A long throw from Mike Taylor then. Sets up Louis Boa Morti, advancing on the Bolton goal. His first shot's blocked. His second finds the back of the net. The Bolton keeper kicks the post in frustration. Louis Boa Morti showing all his pace and skill to take the ball beyond the Bolton defender. His first shot was blocked. Second nestled in the back of the net. Fulham home and dry.
A 2-week break in fixtures at the start of October allowed Jean Tigana the opportunity to celebrate a vintage start to the season by launching his new wine. Fortunately, he had a few ins with a bloke who owns a corner shop in Knightsbridge, so shifting the stuff would never be a problem. And he also used the break to whisk the non-international Fulham players over to France for a friendly against his former club, Bordeaux. With a price freeze on next term's potentially Premiership season tickets, the job of actually getting to the promised land was by no means complete. As Fulham's stiffest test of the season unfolded, our robust defensive record that boasted just 3 goals conceded at home all season began to crack. But a gritty performance made it 10 wins out of 10 as we reclaimed the top spot after a 22-hour sabbatical.
Clark. It's a decent ball. Fernandez. Hales a goal back in the middle. Still Fernandez. Going for glory and getting it. Not sure John Phelan would be too impressed with his attempt at the save. But Fabrice Fernandez has drawn Fulham level. 16 minutes played. 3 defenders at that point between Fernandez and the goal. And not one of them put in any kind of challenge. Goalkeeper will think he should have done better as well. But it's 1-1. And this is Louis Saha, who's dangerous from this position. It was Berg's challenge, and this time Uwai has pointed to the spot. Henning Berg, the man penalised. It looked a harsh one. Saha almost falling over Berg's feet. And it will be Saha against Phelan. And it's 2-1 Fulham. And no one can say they don't deserve to be in front. No chance for the goalkeeper. And all Fulham's pressure has finally paid off.
3 days later saw the return of former Fulham Academy director Alan Smith, now in charge at Selhurst Park. Ironically, Smith had been on the Fulham bench only 6 months earlier as Fulham took on his former and future employer Crystal Palace 2 days after Paul Bracewell departed.
Taken brilliantly. Smith, I think, is going to get cautioned here, is he? Or just a word in his ear from the referee? Actually, it was Hayden Mullins who put the tackle in. Mullins, who missed the game at the weekend for Palace. Fernandez bends across. Up goes Saha! He's done it again! Louis Saha's 10th league goal of the season. You just cannot keep him quiet. Just about 10 minutes gone here at Craven Cottage. Fernandez it was who bent in the cross.
Number 20, Louis Saha.
And Saha just got the faintest of touches to it, and Kalinko didn't have a prayer. Black then with his second corner now for them. That's a better one. Up goes Morrison. This is dangerous. Porcell's in there. Still in there. Rollock has equalised.
Victory against Palace would set a new club record for consecutive wins at the start of a season and equal the Division 1 record set by Kevin Keegan's Newcastle in 1992-93, a side that had featured a certain Lee Clark. So when Clark's 2-goal haul left Fulham 4 points clear at the top of the table with a maximum 33 points from 11 league games, it certainly added an extra twist to the tale.
Stop to ask questions. Away goes Goldback. And Clark. What do you know? Fulham are back in front. They took the free kick so quickly. Goldbeck didn't hang about. He slipped it to Clark. And Lee Clark rifles Fulham back in front. Lee Clark. Very quick thinking from the free kick. Lee Clark, who was top scorer last season in the league for Fulham. That's his second league goal of the season. Clark and Collins linking neatly again in midfield. So important to Fulham, just to keep the possession. Two experienced players. Clark. Neat run by Clark. There goes Barry Hales. This is Barry Hales' first touch of the ball. Yes, he's got round his man. Hales, is he being fouled? Referee waves it on Clark. He's got his second. But doesn't he owe so much to Barry Hales? Lee Clark flashes home with his left foot. And that was the goal Fulham fans wanted. They lead by 3 goals to 1.
Fulham goal scorer number 8, Lee Clark.
Given a different role in the team, and as you say, the signings been top quality signings, and they can always help the players around.
He's really made us tick all season, and just hasn't stopped running basically.
Fernandez guides that into the box. Zaha's there, it's out as far as Lee Clark, who makes no mistake. From around 25 yards, Lee Clark.
I don't call him Clark, I call him mentor. But like I say, yeah, you watch him in training, he works so hard, and it just comes natural on a Saturday afternoon.
And Clark. What do you know? Fulham are back in front. Yes, he's got round his man. Hales, is he being fouled? Referee waves it on Clark. He's got his second.
Fulham clear again, and Clark's in space from a fabulous ball from Louis Marmorte. Lee Clark, yes!
He's still enjoying it now. He said he's won a couple of league championships with Sunderland, and he's won one with Newcastle. He said he's still enjoyed it. He just wants to win all the time, and like I say, he's back in the Premiership where he belongs.
With Reading's 13-game winning streak record of 1986 in their sights, Fulham travelled to Molineux to take on Division 1's perennial underachievers Wolves. But we ran into a determined early resistance as Colin Lee's negative tactics succeeded in their bid to frustrate Fulham. Although Fulham was still unbeaten, Reading's record remained intact. And so to the 13th game of the season, as the mystery of superstition dealt its hand. Preston, flying high after promotion from the second, had surreptitiously slipped into third spot. In a classic smash-and-grab raid, a full-strength Fulham side tasted defeat for the first time in an untypically static display. After the draw and defeat of the previous 2 fixtures, Fulham had temporarily surrendered the top spot to Watford.
Good options here, and the ball in has produced a goal, and it's Gerald Seabon who's got it. Hales has crossed the ball in here, and they've equalised immediately through Louis Saha, and that is exactly what Sheffield Wednesday could not afford. Fulham are really picking up the pace of the game and dictating it again. Hales, a good turn and a good burst of speed. Barry Hales, brilliant. Can he finish it? He can. It's a fantastic goal from Barry Hales. And Sheffield Wednesday are down on the floor. Touch forward to John Collins. Oh, and Quinn again is in trouble here. And even Paul Jewell comes to remonstrate. And Alan Quinn, who was booked, he's going to go off. He's going to go off. It's his second bookable offence in the space of a few minutes. And Alan Quinn, sent off last season against Bristol City, is sent off again today. The crowd are booing because they thought that Brevy should have had a yellow card. And now it's Brevett, of all people, who blocks the first cross. There's another one here from Cook, though, and it's in there. And Sheffield Wednesday are back level in the game. Drifted in. Oh, it's going to go in. It's crept over the line. And Fulham have taken the lead again. Is it Andy Melville up there? Well, it's almost difficult picking him out at the moment. What was he doing up there? It was Andy Melville who got the faintest of touches.
But the wobble in confidence continued, as we could only salvage a point from a struggling Wednesday side who chose to start their resurgence against us with an injury-time equaliser. Having brought Tigana's unbeaten run to a close, Fulham were keen to show Wolves a thing or two. And it was refreshing to see Colin Lee adopt a more open approach from the defensive tactics employed in the league game 12 days earlier.
It's new emblem breaking on the left. Cuts inside to Kitsby, who's got space.
Once again, we found ourselves a goal down in the cup. But once we equalised in the second half, the chances came in thick and fast. 2 goals in the final 11 minutes not only secured our place in the 4th round, but also our first win over Wolves in 11 attempts.
Excellent turn. Louis de Boer-Martin inside the penalty area. The strike and the equaliser. Michael Oakes frustrated. Great celebrations around West London. Fulham back on level terms. And what a delightful first touch on the edge of the penalty area. It was that class that created the opening. The burst of pace into the box, and then great composure, the delicate touch with the outside of the left foot, leaving Michael Oakes stranded. Fulham 1, Wolves 1. Mate chasing. And almost getting the better of Lescott. Paddy does, inside the penalty area. Left foot strike! That'll do. Louis Boer-Martin deserves the celebrations. It was a class act, a great finish. Lescott left stranded. Fernandez. Lots of options ahead of him. Haynes Sahar. Great strike, great goal! Oh, they enjoy that one. Fernandez with the through ball. Sahar turning. And Oakes deceived by the sheer quality of the precise finish.
Number 20, Louis Sahar.
Wolves pressing forward now with Lee Naylor. It's in the cross, in towards Emblem. Dipping strike from long range from Simon Elsborn has given Wolves hope. There could be a sting in the tail of this tie yet.
Lee Clark for Fulham.
With just 2 points from a possible 9, Fulham were in urgent need of a league win. And a match against the bottom club, who were without a win in 13 games and a goal in 5, seemed the ideal opportunity.
4 Fulham men in the box, Hales, Coleman, and it's drawn towards Sahar!
Fulham were lacklustre in the early stages, but the familiar pattern of relentless pressure, superior fitness and a one-man advantage eventually took its toll. Fulham are back in the driving seat.
And the sense of relief is palpable. 1-0 Fulham.
Lee Clark now. Is he going to thread through that killer ball to Sahar or Hales? He finds Goldbeck instead on the edge of the box. Goldbeck shot! Oh! Takes a deflection and completely bamboozles Nico Basson in the Huddersfield Town goal. I think the Dane's going to be credited for that one, and Fulham at last are beyond Lou Macari's battlers and en route to a welcome 3 points. Stevie Finnan, wide to Bjarni Goldbeck, the substitute. Callum Willett looks for it, but Clark has it, plays it forward to Stevie Finnan in a good position here. Finnan must be 3. It is! Well, Fulham have laboured for much of this game, but it's becoming something of a luxury. And in injury time, Stevie Finnan.
Singing in the Rain was the one song that the 5,000 vocal Fulham fans didn't sing, but should have, as Jean Tigana navigated his side back on course for the title. Going into the game just a point behind Watford, but with a game in hand, Fulham simply outclassed a toothless Wimbledon, who had no answer to the terrifying pace and finishing of Sahar and Boa-Morty.
Throw in from Rufus Brevitt. Wimbledon defence backwards and coming forwards, and Louis Sahar fires home for Fulham. Angled right foot shot. Fulham a goal to the good. Throw in from Finnan. Finds Boa-Morty. Wriggles his way past Kimball, who brings him down just inside the box. Clumsy challenge from Kimball. And it's another spot kick for Fulham. Louis Sahar steps up to take it, proving something of a specialist from 12 yards this season. And he slots home again. The Arthur Wake stand erupts. Confident finish from Louis Sahar. Barry Hales plays it across an empty box. Wimbledon try to clear. Lee Clark returns the favour, and it's Hales. 3-0 Fulham.
With Watford again losing, Fulham were back in their rightful place, a position they would occupy for the remainder of the season. Fulham set about a Pompey side enjoying a mini revival under new player manager Steve Claridge in front of a capacity Cottage crowd.
Louis Sahar looks for Hales and finds him. Barry Hales opens the scoring for the Cottagers. Killer combination between Fulham's front two. Louis Sahar finding his teammate just outside the 6-yard box, and he slots home. Pompey then coming back at Fulham.
Despite Portsmouth's equaliser just before half-time, Claridge's 9 men were no match for the mighty Whites in the second half, as Fulham ensured a 5-point lead at the top.
Fernandes finds Rufus Brevitt. Fernandes again. Crosses for Hales. First time shot for Barry. And he's delighted with that. Receives congratulations from Sean Davis and Rufus Brevitt. And Fulham are in front. It was a volley from Hales. So Fulham 2-1 ahead now in this ill-tempered encounter. Lee Clark takes it along the edge of the box and scores! You have to say the Pompey keeper could have done better there. But Lee Clark, Fulham 3-1 in front.
At the start of the season, many observers had praised Jean Tigana's ability to facilitate pacey, elegant football in the comfortable climate of late summer. But some doubted his ability to cope with stubborn northern opposition on heavy pitches in difficult winter conditions, which pretty much summed up Bramall Lane on a Tuesday night in November. A superb individual effort from Steve Finnan after only 4 minutes gave Fulham the edge.
Finnan drifts past Woodhouse, and another Blaze defender. Well, he virtually walked it home there. Fulham a goal up early on in this game. The perfect start. Superb individual goal from Fulham's Republic of Ireland international. Fires home with the outside of his right foot. The perfect start.
But the advantage didn't last long, and in the second half chances were few and far between. With bookings aplenty in the direction of the Blades, Jean Tigana later admitted that he was finding it difficult to accept the brutal world of Division 1 football. With Watford's game called off, we were able to extend our lead at the top of the table to 9 points as we laid another bogey team to rest. It was the dynamic duo of Boa Morty and Sahar who penetrated the 11-man Grimsby defence to score. And had it not been for a fine display by visiting goalkeeper Danny Coyne, the damage could have been far greater.
To Louis Boa Morty's pass. 1-0 Fulham. Louis Boa Morty. His 9th goal of the season, and Fulham at last on the 59th minute break down Grimsby Town and go a goal ahead. Beautiful ball from Lee Clark, and there was Boa Morty, left foot past the otherwise excellent this afternoon Danny Coyne, who's been the Grimsby Town man of the match in my eyes this afternoon. Could have been a much more flattering scoreline for Fulham if it wasn't for the Grimsby #1, but Sahar has it now for Fulham. Still Louis Sahar, great work from Sahar, right foot, oh! Fantastica! Louis Sahar, his first goal in 3 games, and what an absolute corker.
Fulham goal scorer, number 20, Louis Sahar!
And Jeffrey brings it forward again for Grimsby Town. Donovan, still Donovan, good run here from the veteran. Lovely run from Kevin Donovan, that is some goal!
Back in the Worthington Cup, we were up against Premiership opposition once again. But with only 2 positions separating us from struggling Derby, the debate raged on about who exactly were the underdogs.
Real chance here for Malcolm Christie! Derby County take the lead. Coolly taken goal by young Malcolm Christie. Actually tipped by Seth Johnson. Melvin and Simons are forward. So towards Sahar. A goal for Louis Sahar. It almost comes as a guarantee with a ticket here at Craven Cottage these days. A goal a game, he just keeps up the ratio. And that was a free header from a free kick. Mark Paul was committed. Somehow nobody was marking Sahar. And as simple a goal as he will score this season, his 19th. Fabrice Fernandes. Everything to his left. Hale's arriving. Now Lewis arriving! One end to the other. Fabulous Fulham break. And Eddie Lewis's first goal for the club is a memorable one. Derby were on the attack and threatening, and then in a matter of moments, Winston lost it. Goldbeck has broken. The battle was picked up first by Fernandes. And then as Hales let it run, and Eddie Lewis struck it first time. Just for Derby County to pull their socks up. Oh! I don't know if he intended that or not, but it's a sensational goal by Darryl Cole. Fernandes, Lewis. On by Trott, there's a foul there on Lewis by Delap. Certainly midway through the half, Derby County seem to be coming on strong and looking the team more likely
to win a place in the quarter-finals. Right now, that team is Fulham again. Goldbeck. Saha's there. It took its time to get there, but it is yet another goal for Louis Saha, and this time a goal which looks like putting a Premiership team out of a cup competition. Brave looping header in front of defender and goalkeeper. Number 20 of this extraordinary season for Louis Saha. And another extraordinary result on the way for Fulham. 3-2 they lead. Bjarne Goldbeck's teasing free kick off the shoulder of the Frenchman. And if ever there was proof that everything he touches is turning to goals at the moment, that was it.
December was greeted with the release of a new anthem for Fulham Football Club, as Colin and the Cottagers informed the world that we weren't Barcelona, just in case anyone in South West 6 had been mistaking our fluid continental style for that of the Catalan giants. But Preston didn't care who we were. Having been the only side to have beaten us in the league so far, and at Fortress Fulham to boot, Deepdale was not going to be a pushover by any means.
Jackson's there, North End have scored. Michael Jackson got there. We've just played over 4 minutes. Preston North End 1, Fulham 0.
Chance here, Bjarne Goldbeck, dead ball specialist, shoots wide from Bjarne Goldbeck. Brevet, who shot coming in. Oh dear me, can you believe that?
Despite a superb individual goal from Sean Davis, David Moyes' Division 1 new boys held out to become the only side to take 4 points from Fulham all season.
North End 1, Fulham 1.
On a roll after his fine performance at Deepdale, Sean Davis continued to unveil his true pedigree with 2 goals in the first half hour, as we outclassed a West Brom side unbeaten in the previous 18 games.
And Albion have fallen foul early on. A well-worked set-piece goal. Brilliant football. So easily done. The ball whipped in from the corner kick. Jensen furious with his defence. Only 3.5 minutes gone. And Fulham have broken the deadlock. It's Davis that has got it. There it was, whipped in. Davis knew where it was going. Yeah, Albion didn't have a clue. Neither did Jensen. And the Londoners have taken the lead. Goldbeck to his right. I fancy he'll deliver this instead. Hales had made space. Bromwich Albion will try and play it out of trouble and get themselves back into trouble. Here's Davis again. Hales to his right, tries the shot. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful strike! Number 2 for Sean Davis. A goal in the opening 4 minutes that gave the West Londoners the lead. And an absolute Sean Davis. A goal in the opening 4 minutes that gave the West Londoners the lead. And an absolutely priceless strike to double that lead just before the half hour. It came to him all in a hurry. He looked up. Jensen was well placed, and off the underside of the bar had absolutely no chance whatsoever. That is out of the footballing top drawer. Brilliant strike. Des Little out there. Fox on the penalty spot. So too is Hughes. Here is Fox. Back to goal. Can he get the turn and shot he wants? Gets it back across the face of goal. Taylor! What can Richard Sneakers do? Great save from the goalkeeper, and tucks it in the far post by Des Little.
New £2 million Latvian midfielder Andrei Stolčas made an immediate impression with a late goal. And whoever intimated that Tigana's passing style wouldn't hold out away from home in winter was by now well and truly dining out on his own words.
Stolčas away to his right. Here's Stolča. Stolča still. And that surely is game over. 3 points, leaving West Bromwich for West London. Stolča scores on his debut for the West London club. only received the work permit 2 days ago after joining from Shakhtar Donetsk. And that is a great finish with some great composure shown from Stolcher. It was Finnan putting the pressure on. Stolcher made the space. He cut back inside Clement and finished calmly, coolly and collectedly.
As if a fifth-round cup tie at Anfield wasn't enough, by the time we travelled to Merseyside, the third-round draw for the FA Cup had already taken place and Manchester United were on the agenda. But Jean Tigana was adamant that his players would not be distracted from any games in the interim. And Christian Damiano certainly wanted to show his former colleague, Gerard Houllier, the fruits of his recent labour. Fulham held out for over 100 minutes, but 3 injury-time goals saw Tigana's men fall to the eventual cup win.
Caught up with Fishkan. It's good pass though from Bartle. Here's Barmby. He could finish it here. Or Sweetser! Yes! Liverpool home and dry. Vladimir Sweetser has given them clear daylight. And Fulham, remembering that Manchester United are on their FA Cup horizon. Barmby looking to go it alone. It's Nick Barmby. It's 3. Liverpool finishing with a flourish. Smile on the face of their manager.
After a gallant performance against Merseyside's finest, we were back at the Cottage to take on their lowly neighbours Tranmere. Like Burnley and Blackburn, Rovers took a shock early lead thanks to Tranmere's rising star Jason Kumas, which kick-started a ripple of transfer speculation about a move to Fulham.
Great run here, superb run. Into the box and an effort, it's a fantastic goal. Jason Kumas, the scorer.
But Fulham's superior fitness and relentless pressure was too much for John Aldridge's men to absorb.
Fernandez guides that into the box. Sahar's there, it's out as far as Lee Clark. Who makes no mistake. Around 25 yards, Lee Clark brings Fulham level on 21 minutes. Fulham 1, Tranmere Rovers 1. Free kick from Fernandez, cleared by Yates as far as Lee Clark, who drills that back from whence it came and past Mira. Fine goal. Sahoon, Fernandez, Sahar. Fernandez into the midfield area to Stolkers. Brevitz racing into that overlap and he gets a nice little chipped ball from Stolkers. Boamorte! Fulham ahead on 27 minutes as Boamorte dance a jig in front of the Cottage. Stolkers' clever clipped ball into the path of Rufus Brevett, and first time Boamorte just inside the box. Rufus Brevett. Dangerous ball across his own box almost for Parkinson, almost cut that out, but Fulham still passing the ball around in their own half. Melville. Clark's in a bit of space though, centre field. It's got Fernandez and Boamorte up ahead of him. Is Boamorte going to run onto this? He is. Louis Boamorte into the box now for Fulham. Boamorte! Stunning finish. His second of the game and Fulham third. And they're surely en route to another home win. It'll be their 11th of the season. And they're now 3 goals to 1 ahead here against Tranmere Rovers. Fine finish from Louis Boamorte, getting ahead of his man in the box.
As Christmas approached, we found ourselves in the slightly bizarre situation of being linked with Barcelona's French World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit, while preparing to take on Crewe Alexandra in a league match. An early Crewe goal ensured that Fulham's 22 feet were well and truly kept on the ground.
Chip forward now.
I don't think it looked forward to a second half like today's for a very long time.
Saha trying to attack straight away, and he's got a clean possession through here. But what an impact to make into a game. The pace is
show. You showed a clean pair of heels to Neil Savell. Straight down the wing, crossed it in. Bowen Martins put it in the back of the net.
But a familiar scenario ensued as we secured maximum points.
That's a great ball to Hales. Well, and it's 2-1. And we said about patient build-ups and the pace of players, and that really seemed to have left the Crew defence still.
When the fixture list came out, Watford at the Cottage on Boxing Day looked set to be the heavyweight bout of the season. With both sides vying for the top spot, the game had been declared a sellout as early as November. But by the time December the 26th came around, the showdown of the year turned into a Boxing Day massacre.
And he's going to take this left foot. 1-0. Louis Saha, 21st goal of the season, call as you like, at the Putney end, left foot, Fulham ahead. Goalbeck corner, Saha, well, Hales! Barton almost denying Fulham again, but Barry Hales, no one deserves it more. Knocks home his 13th goal of the season. It's a corner from Goldbeck. Sahar rose high, actually in the bar. And then there is Barry Hales to mop up the mess in the 6-yard box. Ward brings it forward and finds Cox, but good tackle from Davis. Ball bobbling around the midfield area, but Fulham announced a lovely black flick from Barry Hales into the path of Lee Clark. Keeps it in well, Lee Clark. He's dashed into the box now, Lee Clark for Fulham. Barry Hales! 3-0 to the Super Whites as Barry Hales gets his 15th goal of the season. Marvellous stuff from Fulham. Sweeping move. Started by Sean Davis and finished by Barry Hales. Boamorte now. Well, it's a foul by Carlton Palmer right on the edge of the box. I think it was outside. In fact, it definitely was. And this is a dangerous position for a Fulham free kick right on the edge of the box. Foul by Carlton Palmer on the slippery Louis Boamorte. Clark takes it. Hales. Barry Hales celebrates a Christmas hat-trick, and it's Fulham 4, Watford 0. Clever free kick routine, chipped into the box by Bjarne Goldbeck. Hales rises above the unfortunate Darren Ward. Merry Christmas, Barry Hales. 15 minutes to play and Fulham looking for their most impressive home win of the season. They've equalled the margin of victory as we earned against Barnsley earlier in the season, but a 5-0 would be a fantastic festive celebration of football here at Craven Cottage as Stokers brings it forward. Boamorte's there, he's beyond Palmer. Boamorte is in the box. Twists and turns, finds Rufus Brevett on the overlap. Brevett plays it low to the box. Stokers! 5-0! Wonderful stuff! Andre Stokers gets his second goal of his brief Fulham career, and Fulham are having an absolute laugh!
13 points clear of second-place Bolton, Jean Tiganar's 19th win in 24 fixtures was a Boxing Day stroll in the park. Well, they say bad things come in threes, and the refreshing air of optimism that usually greets the new year was quickly dampened as a litany of disasters accompanied the arrival of 2001. The same Fulham lineup that had demolished Watford only days before suffered a bewildering defeat at Edgeley Park. Only our second in the league all season, as the long-standing unbeaten away record came tumbling down.
Oh, he scored! Oh, what a brilliant goal!
3 players around him, didn't have much of a chance. Intercepted by Clark. On his away. He's away! He's away! It's a brilliant goal! It's an absolutely magnificent goal!
To top it off, an appalling first-half challenge saw Barry Hales carried off as the striker crisis began to rear its ugly head. The hype surrounding the Manchester United game was put into grim perspective when news filtered through about Chris Coleman's horrific car accident. With Barry Hales already out and Sean Davis suspended, doubts about Lee Clark's fitness made for further anxiety in the Fulham camp. Still numb from the news about Cookie, the players went into the game with the sole raison d'etre of honouring their absent captain. They were big boots to fill, but if anyone was going to do it, then Cookie's best mate, Kit Symons, was the man. A nervous beginning allowed Solskjaer the split second he needed to score.
Straight at it. In trouble, Rufus Brevett. Clark caught in possession by... Oh, it's a costly one because Solskjaer has scored and Manchester United after...
But that seemed to be just the motivation Fulham needed, as we bossed a Manchester United midfield containing Butt, Beckham, Giggs and Keane.
It's Fabrice Fernandes. 1-1! Perfect execution.
Well, I said there was not a lot in the game. No, we're absolutely dead level. It's been a fantastic response from the first division leader. And a quite exquisite free kick. Well, with Marvin Deacon, David Beckham's ability. Well, I tell you what, that's up there with the best of them. The wall goes up, it jumps. It makes it as difficult as possible for Fernandes, but what a finish.
The pace and invention of Sahar and Boa Morti up front had United in all kinds of trouble, earning the dynamic duo many post-match plaudits from Sir Alex Ferguson. But if he could do it to Bayern Munich in a Champions League final,
Himself. Oh, Teddy Sheringham.
He could do it to Fulham. And it was super sub Teddy Sheringham who had the last laugh.
On the pitch, I think we have missed him because we lost a little bit of the balance when he went. He was such an outstanding, consistent performer. But probably even more so in the change room. Such a character, positive guy. He is a leader within the club.
He's not just an inspiration on the pitch, but off the field as well. He's just top draw. You know, he's a leader. Everyone looks up to him. Everyone's got untold amounts of respect for him. And it's still great that he's around, and you know his banter's first class, and he helps everyone keep their feet on the ground. You know.
I mean, I've played with him most of the time. I've been there for 3 years. I played next to him, and with him not being there, it did take some getting used to. But in saying that, the kid's coming in done fabulous. So.
He does a lot on and off the field. Well, he did do, and off the field he's still doing a lot. So you know, we're not going to take that away from him. I'm just standing until everything goes well for him in the near future.
He's, the best central defender outside the Premiership, and it's great that we're back there for people like him when he does come back from his injury, that he will be performing there again, because that's where he deserves to be. But let's not take nothing away from Kit, who's come in and done tremendous.
Really weird circumstances, me getting back into the team with Chris having his injury, and it all happening obviously in that 1 week as well, and it being the Man United game also. So it was very strange. I was pleased to get my chance, but obviously I was more concerned about best mate being laid up with a dodgy leg.
When I first came down 3.5 years ago, so many people said to me, don't, because the second division, and I was making a big mistake, and we never get back to the Premiership. So it's sweet for me now, because I always believed that we were going to get to the Premiership, and I believed that Fulham were going to be successful, otherwise I wouldn't have signed. I didn't think we'd get to the Premiership in 3 years, if I'm honest. I thought there'd be more 4 or 5, but it's sweet now. I can look at those people and say I told you so.
Fulham fans arriving at the cottage for the Norwich game were greeted with the news that Louis Sahar had earned the Nationwide League Player of the Year award, polling an incredible 57% of the votes. Not bad for someone who was an unknown entity 4 months before. And keeping true to form, it was Louis who broke the deadlock.
Still Louis Sahar, right foot, Louis Sahar! 22 for Fulham's French protege. Finally breaks down Norwich City, and Fulham lead by a goal to nil.
Goal scorer number 20, Louis Saha.
Rufus Brevitt then eventually with this free kick for Fulham as we enter injury time. Does it find Boa-Morte? Left foot shot, Boa-Morte! That's audacious, and that's 2-0 for Fulham at the death.
Fulham goal scorer number 22, Louis Boa-Morte.
Louis Boa-Morte finally puts this game beyond Norwich.
It wasn't a vintage performance by any stretch of the imagination, but it was 2 more goals and, more importantly, 3 more points. Watford was still reeling from the battering they received at the Cottage 3 weeks earlier as we made the short hop to Vicarage Road.
Too much with the clocks, but in goes Boa-Morte, and there's the first goal. Watford lost their concentration, and they have paid for it fully.
According to Graham Taylor, Fulham had only 3 players who had cut it in the Premiership. Do I not like that, came the retort from many of the Fulham squad as we executed an away performance imbued with pace and precision.
But just before the hour mark, Boa-Morte has slipped in there to underline his awareness in front of goal and embarrass Watford's defending. Terrific work by Boa-Morte. Fernandez chasing back. Being an example of how much they do work hard for each other. Davis, very cool play. Now Clark. So often hovering in support of the front players. Oh, that's a lovely ball. Boa-Morte! Clark, the instigator, Boa-Morte with the finish. It was super football then by Fulham, who broke so incisively from defence to attack and in such deadly fashion. Wonderfully weighted ball then by Clark. Boa-Morte pounced in a flash. And there was nothing more that Watford could do from there. Chamberlain committed, couldn't get down in time. It's the second goal for Fulham. It's the second goal for Louis Boa-Morte. Any danger here? In goes Wouter, and it's barged in by Helderson. And they are back in the game. A moment's hesitation at the back from Fulham, and Helderson has bounced. Nielsen's long throw in here. They haven't really dealt with it, Fulham. There's Mooney going in, and Wouter, and then Helderson, the Icelandic international, on as a substitute to fire his feet back in the game. But did he use his arm there? The evidence would suggest maybe he did. Now Finnan. Lee Clark. Yes. Goldbeck giving them some width again with Finnan. And here is Bjarni Goldbeck. Bearing down on goal. Back for Saha. And the 2-goal advantage is swiftly restored. Saha, who's been threatening a goal all afternoon, really. And with 9 minutes left, have they now seen off Watford's challenge? It was beautifully constructed. Goldbeck so intelligently pulling it back after Finnan's good work. He's looked up here. He's seen Saha. They weren't really tight on him in truth. And it was steered in confidently enough by the Frenchman.
Since calling the match off 4 weeks before, Trevor Francis got the benefit of playing a Fulham team without Coleman, John Collins and Wayne Collins. But that wasn't the half of it. With Barry Hales still injured and Karl-Heinz Riedler only fit enough to make the bench, suspensions for Saha and Boa-Morte must have been music to Trevor Francis' ears.
Granger, Lazaridis, Sonner, Eden. All fancying a stab at this one. But it's Martin Granger.
As the pitch deteriorated, so too did Fulham's fluid style. as the Blues' defence stayed resolute. An almighty black and white army of 4,000 ventured to the bush to witness Fulham's first away victory at Loftus Road in 70 years.
This could be an area that Jerry Francis could be very closely looking at.
Bolstered by the return of Louis Sahar, it was Peter Muller who did the initial damage.
It's Muller. Muller's shot. Oh no! What a mistake by Linet Matoshko. I just don't believe it. It slipped right underneath him. And Fulham have somehow grabbed the lead at the death in this first half. And that is so disappointing for QPR.
Karl-Heinz Riedler announced his return with a trademark header.
Over comes the corner.
And the header. It's 2-0 now. And game over, I would say. So Fulham 2-0 up.
By the start of February, the bookies had paid out on Fulham winning the First Division Championship.
Here's Sahar, and this time he has slipped Beaumonte through. 1-0. And quiet as they have been so far, the minute they sparkle into life, it is with the inevitable result. Fulham score, Beaumonte's got it, and is grateful to his strike partner for setting it up.
Well, I was just saying how the front two have really struggled to be in the game, but just look at the way Sahar just takes his ball. The problem is there at left back. Sanford plays everybody on, and it's about the composure then of Louis Beaumonte, and he maintains that composure. At times I've seen him in this position 1-against-1, and he's fluffed opportunities like that, but he really did keep a cool head, went past Simon Tracy, and then it was about the finish, and the finish was into an open net.
But a rapidly deteriorating pitch and a solid Sheffield United away record was more than the resumed partnership of Sahar and Beaumonte could overcome.
The free kick on, the header's gone in, and it's Jaffo who's got it.
As the reserves began to score goals by the truckload, the first team struggled to regain their fluency as a goalless draw at Oakwell ensued. Fulham had chances in abundance, but once again it was the opposition goalkeeper who earned the hosts a point.
It's Ward, and that was arrowing towards the Fulham net until it struck the head of Andy Melville. And when it breaks down, Beaumonte will use his pace. He's blistering. Beaumonte, brilliant run, and they shout to the Fulham players for a penalty or a free kick. This time Neil fails to get the ball back to Ward. They could suffer the consequences here. It's Beaumonte. Oh, and a clever chip over to Sahar. Well, the first bit of football there was brilliant from Beaumonte.
By now, it was becoming apparent that our fellow Division 1 compatriots were getting the measure of Jean Tigana's style. But Forest provided some brief respite from the damage limitation tactics employed by so many. We took a first-half lead through the highest goal scorer in the country, Louis Sahar.
The Gallic goal machine is back on track. Fulham ahead on 19.
Fulham goal scorer number 20, Louis Sahar.
It was a lovely pinpoint ball from Kit Simons beyond the Forest defence.
But David Platt's tactical switch to 3 attackers in the second half made for a nervous final quarter for Fulham.
Louis Beaumonte onto it, fed Sahar. And that's goal number 24 for Louis Sahar.
Turf Moor has never been a good hunting ground for Fulham, and despite this season's good fortune, the points still eluded us. Although Barry Hales marked his comeback with a second-half goal, his 17th of the season, Burnley snatched a late winner to complete only our 4th league defeat.
As he enters the edge of the area, Finan on the goal, he keeps going, Finan! Oh, and that's the goal. It's Hales who scores it. Finan got a lot of space on the right-hand side. His cross was good, and what a disappointment after a great start from Burnley.
A great football from Fulham, you must admit. When the run of players
They're so quick in that to get that goal in there.
Little. Onto that, Thomas on the right wing. Paul Cook again. Burnley have territorial possession. Don't seem to be going anywhere at the moment. That was a bad one. But Taylor gets in there. Now then, Weller plays on that right-hand side. A good cross is called for. It's a good one. Taylor, it's in. It's a goal.
Gillingham had surprised many by holding their own in Division 1, and like Turf Moor, Priestfield was another traditionally ominous ground for Fulham, and it seemed as if our poor record there might continue. But 2 goals in the last 20 minutes, one from John Collins and a sweet strike from Lewis Boa-Morty, saw the curse finally crack for the first time since Boxing Day 1988.
Boa-Morty's onto this one then, and he threads it beneath the Gillingham keeper. Typical Louis Boa-Morty, running onto the through ball, taking it into the box and just slotting it beneath the keeper for Fulham's second.
With the plans for the new stadium edging further and further towards that all-important green light, March began with a clash of the Titans as we hosted Bolton at the Cottage. Bolton had been soundly beaten by arch-rivals Blackburn the previous week, and with all 3 teams chasing automatic promotion, it made for a compelling spectacle.
Here's Sahar. Here's Hales. Oh, beautiful! A delicate little touch completely deceived Colin Henry, opened it up for Barry Hales, and it's goal number 18 of the season for him. Well, it's a combination of...
As Tigana's men once again exuded that zip that had been so apparent at the start of the season, Fulham laid siege to the Bolton goal.
Really thinks that he's going to get it on his left foot, and he almost decides to read the situation. There you can see, perhaps gets a little bit lucky, but really with his second touch is absolutely magnificent in the way that he slots that ball home. He has plenty of composure, plenty of belief, knows exactly where he is, and Fulham take the deserved lead.
Charlton. Ellsworth gets the free kick, little push by Melville.
Used all his experience, didn't he, Dean Ellsworth? Just did enough there, just at the right time.
Francis kick, a goal!
Sam Allardyce was pleased with the point, and he was extremely lucky to get it. An uncomplicated but nonetheless satisfying home win over local rivals QPR.
Well, slightly contentious decision, you have to say, from Mr. Riley. Steve Finnan looking to go past Paul Murray, and the Rangers midfielder gets his body in the way, and, well, could have gone either way, but Louis Sahar steps up looking for his 25th goal of the season. Louis Sahar against Lee Harper. 1-0 Fulham. The Gallic goal machine gets the ball rolling against neighbours QPR.
And completed our first double over Rangers for some 70 years. Ian Holloway's new charges had plenty of fighting spirit, but lacked the quality required to overcome the finesse of Tigana's Fulham.
And Clark's in space from a fabulous ball from Louis Boa-Morty. Lee Clark! Yes! Over and out. Fulham 2, QPR 0. Lee Clark. With his 6th goal of the season, 15th of his Fulham career. And Fulham finally put this game beyond QPR.
After the Turf Moors and Oakwells, it was a joy to make the short journey to Selhurst Park, safe in the knowledge that we hadn't lost there against Palace since 1969.
Goldbeck's cross causing all sorts of problems for the Palace defence. And Louis Boa-Morty profits. Trots over to the Fulham fans, head bowed but delighted with that first goal. Crystal Palace, Keystone Cops defending. touch through for Louis Boamorte, who looked a tad offside. But he slots home.
In the meantime, one Frenchman had made way for another, as Fabrice was replaced by the slightly less diminutive figure of Alain Gomard from Newcastle for a club and Division 1 record of £4 million. But it was Louis Boamorte who stole the show.
Goldbeck. Finnan. Through to Boamorte, and that's a typical Boamorte goal. Fulham now 2-1 ahead, and seemingly on their way to 3 points at Selhurst. Steve Finnan really the architect, threading it through to Louis Boamorte, who fires home with his left foot. As the Fulham fans sing his praises in the Arthur Waite stand.
March drew to a close with a resolute victory up at Tranmere, our 12th away win of the season, to take us 17 points clear at the top.
They were both in there, but Mike Taylor came between them. A hefty throw by him. Stolchers looking to set Louis Sahar away. Kenner comes across to guard against him, and it's gone in! Murphy couldn't keep out the shot, and it's virtually gone from one goalkeeper to the other. Stolchers and Sahar, the influences for Fulham, who've taken an early lead here.
Well, Stolchers is not entitled to get this pass in. He really isn't, but he saw Sahar on the far left-hand side. He's drifted it towards him. Then it's down to Louis Sahar. Shift half a yard away from Kenner's feet. That's all it needs to take. Then he pulls the trigger. Murphy should do so much better with it, but he can't keep it out. It's not directly in the corner. It's close to Murphy, but the power beats him, and it's 1-0 to Fulham.
And it's played through here to Barry Hales! And Fulham extend their lead. The front two have both registered, and it goes from bad to worse for Tranmere.
Oh, that's the difference between these two sides. Look at this, that straight ball again through the middle. They're enticing Fulham to take it off them. Clark accepts that, and then you do not give Barry Hales a chance like this on his left-hand side. This time Joe Murphy cannot be blamed, because this is in the corner, this is away from him. What a goal. Murphy sets himself, he can't get his hands around that.
Collins. Clark. Hales. Clark is quickly onto it. Sahar and Stolchers to his right. And he's gone all the way through and completely deflated Tranmere, who'd threatened a second-half revival. Surely now it's been killed off, though, and Fulham are to stretch their lead at the top of the First Division.
Well, he's a class player, isn't he? Because he plays this 1-2 with Barry Hales. Once he gets it back, he's crying out for Richard Jobson to try and take it off him, but he moves it sideways, just enough to get himself in a position to shoot. Jobson doesn't get anywhere near him, and then it's just about keeping it low. It's underneath Murphy, to the side, he's not expecting it, into the bottom right-hand corner. Game over.
Here's Flynn. Finnan. Crosses by Simon. Sahar with a header! It's goal number 4. And Jean Tigana side well on their way to a handsome victory that will put them 17 points clear at the top.
Well, it's Kit Simons, the tricky winger. Finnan plays him in, and then it's about lifting this up over the defenders onto the head of Sahar. It's that bounce just in front of Murphy. You may well think Murphy should do better once again, but it just bounces before he can reach. Doesn't get a lot of spring, Murphy, from his feet. Sahar does once it gets towards him.
Sean Flynn. Kenner looking to place one for Stuart Barlow, and Osborne's onto it.
March had been littered with a bizarre array of events that typified the good fortune engulfing the club. We narrowly lost to Italian giants AC Milan on penalties before beating Marseille in a mini-tournament in France. Sean Davis played 2 games for the England under-21s, the first Fulham player to do so since the early 80s. The ladies reached the FA Cup final, and if that wasn't enough, we got the go-ahead for the new stadium. As someone once asked George Best, where did it all go so wrong? As the crunch month of April descended upon us, it was West Brom who upset the apple cart when they came to the cottage seeking points to maintain their playoff aspirations. Chances were at a premium in a fairly dour affair where neither side looked like breaking the deadlock.
Sahar picks it up again, edge of the box. Twisting and turning and sending a right foot shot just over Holt's bar. Goldbeck again in space on the right-hand side. Useful cross to the far stick where Riegler lurks. Dramatic volley from the German who's just scored once this season at QPR, but that was world class. Put off target. Goldbeck. Forward to Lee Clark. Karl-Heinz Riegler. Still Riegler. Good save. Barry Hales. Lee Clark. Right foot. Again, Russell Holt right behind it. Made the initial save from Karl-Heinz Riegler. Parried that one. And the ball eventually coming out to Lee Clark.
Well, won by Janssen for Duff.
And so we entered that week in April that nobody will ever forget. With Blackburn earmarking the second spot as their own, the rescheduled away game at Ewood Park was never going to be anything other than pure theatre. The vitriol began before a ball had even been kicked, as Graham Souness declared that Blackburn were the best team in the league. But Jean Tigana, never a man of many words, was keen to do his talking on the pitch. The events that followed will go down in Fulham folklore forever.
Oh, bit of afters. It was Hales and Gillespie to start with, but then it became Brevet and Flitcroft. And there is trouble at Mill. How great is that trouble? It is red trouble. Rufus Brevet plays no further part. Jean Tigana's team is down to 10. You won't often have seen Fulham this panicked this season. Davis, Goldbeck. These guys are going to have to get forward a bit more now. Finnan. Finnan aimed towards Davis, and Friedler's dropped it, and Sahara scored! Goalkeeping error, and an equaliser out of the blue for Fulham's 10 men. Brad Friedel seemed to have it pouched, but as he went up with his own defender here, he lost control of the ball, and Sahar had an empty net to fill.
Well, sometimes you can sympathise with a goalkeeper when one of their own players gets in the way, but Brad Friedel's got to get hold of that. He seems to have it, even if he falls over Henning Berg, which he does, he's got to keep hold of it, and he's presented Sahar with a gift in the end. The keeper should have held on.
Goldbeck. Now have Fulham got the guts and the drive to get enough forward. They have 4 over the halfway line. 5 now. Clark is one of those. It's Lee Clark for Fulham. Clark's shot gets a deflection, comes to Davis! What a steal! What a steal! That is extraordinary! 90 seconds into stoppage time, that is a promotion jig! Against the wall, their backs have been throughout the second half, and right at the end, Sean Davis has stolen the most amazing goal.
Well, that is absolutely incredible, but look, they sensed it. Look at them all trying to get forward. 5 got into the Blackburn half, and when it comes in here, it takes a terrible deflection, really, but Davis stayed alive to it, and he's tucked it away absolutely beautifully, but it's so harsh on Blackburn Rovers.
when I saw many games, I think immediately it's possible to work with this player. And the first example is Sean Davis.
Albion have fallen foul early on. It's Davis that has got it. There it was, whipped in. Davis knew where it was going.
I played a few games but then got rested and then didn't play for a long period and then came in. He's come in, he's put me straight in the team and he's not changed it. I played game after game. And like most players know, if you keep playing you get more confidence and you get more match fit and sharper.
And it is Lewis and Davis conspiring with Boa Morte in support. I suspect Eddie Lewis is going to hook this in with his left foot, but Davis takes it quickly and it's there!
He's got better with each game, he's just improved, he's got more mature, he scored vital goals.
Here's Davis again, Nails to his right, tries the shot! Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful strike!
He can do what he wants in the game, he's prepared to listen to the older players and he seems to respect their opinion and take on board what they're saying and he wants to work hard.
Shot coming in. Oh dear me, can you believe that?
Hopefully we go to the big grounds, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, put on a good show and emulate what Ipswich have done this year.
The emotive win at Blackburn, combined with Bolton's draw with Birmingham City, put Fulham within a point of guaranteed top-flight football for the first time since 1968.
It's another Sahara spot kick. And again, he finishes with confidence. Promotion just a hair's breadth away now for Fulham. Huddersfield on the break then. Kit Simons loses out to Delroy Facey. It's Facey against Melville. Takes it past the Welsh defender and beats.
We were unsympathetic to a Huddersfield side fighting for their own Division 1 survival. A point was all we needed. But Boa Morte's strike in the closing stages put the icing on the promotion cake as our 14th away win of the season saw the 5-year plan completed in less than 4.
And then through to Boa Morte.
Cake as our 14th away win of the season saw the 5-year plan completed in less than 4.
And then through to Boa Morte, and that's almost a replica of his goal at Gillingham recently. And it's Fulham 2-1 up. And promotion seemingly is there.
We always said we'd be back. Who'd have thought it would take 33 years? A sunny Easter Monday. Promotion secured, the champagne on ice as the championship title sat just one tantalising point away. It could have been all over before a ball was even kicked if Blackburn had failed to put Huddersfield to the sword earlier in the day. So Tigana's men entered the pitch to a carnival atmosphere as the Fulham faithful greeted the Premiership's new arrivals for what was expected to be a championship-winning formality.
Corner then going to be taken by Joel Sabon. Right foot. Hanneman's there and he's made a mess of it. And it's gone straight in.
It's been said since that what happened on that extraordinary day at Craven Cottage is beyond the imagination of scriptwriters. Seeing really was believing.
Louis Boa Morte. Still Boa Morte. Over the feet of Lescott Hales. Davis! Oh, what a finish! Sean Davis secures the First Division title for Fulham. Oh, what a wonderful finish! Sean Davis dances a jig at the Hammersmith end. Fulham are level. Fulham are champions. What a fantastic strike from Sean Davis. In the dying second, Sean Davis sends an absolute screamer past Pressman. Fulham back on level terms and back in an English top flight. Finds Finnan. Louis Boa Morte, and that's it.
It was hardly a surprise that the trip to the seaside failed to show the champions at their finest. After all, it had been an emotionally draining week.
Pompey coming forward then. Good save from Taylor. Cleared only as far as Lee Bradbury. And Pompey are ahead.
French international Alain Gomard made his debut, while Louis Sahar maintained his mission to be the country's top scorer as he converted a controversial penalty, making him the only Fulham player to net 30 goals in a season since Bedford Jezzard in 1954.
Steered across to Lee Clark at the far post, but I think a penalty's been given. Portsmouth's defence up in arms about it, but the Pompey defender was hacking away at Boa-Morte. And it's a just decision. So Louis Sahar steps up for his umpteenth spot kick of the season, really. In front of the travelling Fulham fans. And he scores! And Fulham are level. A worthwhile trip to the seaside after all. Promotion secured and a point secured at Pompey.
As space was being made in the Fulham trophy cabinet, Jean Tigana still had Sunderland's record of 105 points in his sights as we set about Wolves at the Cottage. 2 penalties allowed Louis Sahar to keep himself at #1 in the goal-scoring charts.
Will Michael Oakes do what no other keeper has done this season? I don't think so.
Number 20, Louis Sahar.
This is 25th of the season. Louis Sahar. Now Betsy plays it forward to Sahar, to Wayne Collins, to Sahar again. It's still in the box. Riedler's belled over. It's a penalty. It's another penalty. It was so clear cut. Sent him the wrong way with the first one. It's Sahar. Correct. It's 2-0. King Louis does the business.
Fulham goal scorer with his 32nd goal of the season, number 20, Louis Sahar.
26 in the league, 32 in all. Sahar, so good.
The highlight of the night for everyone at the Cottage came when Mr. Fulham himself, Simon Morgan, came on as a substitute for the final 15 minutes. Out for over 12 months with 2 successive knee problems, this marked Morg's 422nd appearance in a Fulham shirt and was a fitting tribute to a player who has contributed so much to the cause. And he was even named man of the match. It was not so much a game of 2 halves as a game of 2 penalties that characterised the final home game of the season. The heavens opened and the thunder clapped, but it didn't stop the capacity crowd waving their black and white flags with pride.
Good little spell this for Wimbledon. Roberts forward to Cooper, who goes down, and that's a penalty kick to Wimbledon. Mike Taylor just touches the feet of Kevin Cooper, who goes sprawling, and that's a spot kick for the Dons.
A resolute Wimbledon took the lead from the penalty spot late in the second half.
Long run up the Wimbledon striker, and it's a save. No, it's got in. The Dons fans go crazy away to my right as Jason Newell slots home his 20th goal of the season, and the Dons are in front.
And Luis Boa-Morte, freshly capped by the Portuguese national team, returned the favour to draw level.
Finnan gets a cross in towards Riedler. Falls to Boa-Morte at the edge of the box. Louis Boa-Morte looks to beat his man and goes down. And that's a penalty. Well, that looked a little bit fortuitous, I must say. Nevertheless, Fulham have a spot kick at the Hammersmith end with 4 minutes to play. Fell to Louis Boa-Morte on the edge of the box. He looked to go round Holloway, and well, Fulham will take that, but hotly disputed by Wimbledon. I think Louis Boa-Morte is going to step up and take this spot kick for Fulham. Looking for his 21st of the season. Can Louis Boamorte level it for Fulham? He can! And he takes a dive at the Hammersmith end, but this time in celebration. As the flags are waved aloft, celebrating that fine penalty from Louis Boamorte.
The points record may have eluded Jean Tigana, but the only thing that dampened the trophy presentation was the rain.
It's very difficult, you know. I tried to have really a British manager. We got Bracewell to give him a chance after Kevin Keegan left us and gone to England. We saw the results. He will not be able. He's a great player, but unfortunately he was not able to deliver. Through friends in Europe, we've been lucky to have Tigana.
I think I had two highlights this season. The first is when we won 11 games in the row. For the start, the beginning of the season is a fantastic highlight. And the second, when we won against Blackburn Rovers.
Finnan in towards Davis, and Friedler's dropped it, and Sahara scored! It's Lee Clark for Fulham. Clark's shot gets a deflection, comes to Davis! What a steal! What a steal! That is extraordinary!
The big difference in England is the passion of the football, the fans and the TV, and in France it's very different because you don't have this passion.
It's quite easy playing in this team because he just wants us to get the ball and pass it and have as least touches as you can, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it this year.
Yeah, personally I've benefited quite a lot. You know, I'm sure all the players say that. You only have to look at the way we've been successful this season to see that how good the manager is.
I think first and foremost they believe in you and they've got confidence in you. And if you're playing with confidence, then that's half the battle won. I think I've been playing with a lot of confidence this season.
Even in my career, I mean it was the best setup I ever had. But it's not only Sean; it was Damiano and Roger, and they're all working very good together, and it's a brilliant team, I think.
I think that's the style of football that he wants to play has benefited us all, really. It obviously helps keep me concentration going because it keeps me involved a lot more. Obviously he wants us to play from the back, so it's gone from there, really.
But I think he's probably a better manager now than he was when he took his first job at Monaco. He's got more experience, and just like as a player you always get better and better, and I think he's become a better manager.
I mean, there's too many ways to mention, really. I mean, it's not that it's everyone. It's not just the manager, obviously. It's, you know, Christian and Roger as well. That everyone connected has been fantastic. They've not come in and waved a magic wand, but they've basically managed to bring the best out of every single player at the club, I think, and everyone's game's improved, or they're now playing more like to their full potential than what anyone was before.
I think he's seen me strengths and put us in the team to play with my strengths and not worry about the weaknesses I've got. Obviously work on them during the week and train and try and make them better, but to get us in the team and use my strengths in that team.
Me personally, I think he's helped my game a lot because he told me to concentrate on playing more than being aggressive, really.
A lot, yeah. The people he's brought in, the fitness coach, his assistant manager, himself. I think everyone's come on leaps and bounds, really. The confidence is there. The team are playing well. It makes it easier when the players around you are on top of their game as well. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot as well.
Grimsby's energy and enthusiasm was just a little bit too much for Fulham in the last game of a historic season. When Grimsby took the lead through the softest of goals, a sense of inevitability dawned over the travelling Fulham faithful. But it didn't matter. The job was complete. Fulham were champions and the Premiership was waiting.